Do you have a passcode or words?
What is going on, my people? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform, Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I want to welcome each and every one of you to the Financial Power Hour. It's going to be crazy tonight. I'm not going to get crazy with y'all right now. I'm just going to let my people drop the intro on you real quick. I grew up in West Philly, and times was tough. Single mom, 4 kids, there was never enough. What's a youngin' to do? Join a gang or a crew, or go to school, hit the books, and find a mentor or two. God was on my side, mom's was not with the games, so I studied extra hard, created a lane, read books by Warren Buffett and Benjamin Graham, spent time on Wall Street, and now I'm the man. But there's still much to do, and plenty to say, so I present the Power Hour by Wealth Our Way. Enjoy the show. What is going on, everybody? I am super excited. I know y'all get used to me saying super excited every week, but I'm going to break it down why this week I am truly, truly super excited. The person coming on the show tonight is more than a friend. This is family right here. This is my people. We're not just both Philly Johns. We're not just both uh, Temple University crew and family. We are both. We got a lot of tech things going on right now that I got to make it happen because we're trying to do a lot right now, and I'm going to make the lot happen. But my girl Nicole Purvy, when I tell you, I have had professional athletes on the show. I've had rappers who have rapped with Big on the show. I've had Mr. Philadelphia, my main man Charlie Mack, on the show. For a fledgling startup show, I done had some cats come through. But when I tell you tonight, it's world class tonight. So let's talk about my girl Nicole Purvy, founder of Better Than Success State League. Y'all know her; she's on big stages everywhere, but she has her own stages that she's created. She may get embarrassed by me telling you this. I go back to Nicole back when she was at the Vanguard days. Like I go back to Series 6 Nicole. Then she went to Toyota. She trading commercial Series 7. My bad. My bad. She ain't gonna let me play her like that. She trading commercial paper at Toyota. She's just doing her thing. And I have watched her grow from budding entrepreneur to superstar entrepreneur to teacher, mentor, author. She's the author of The Anti Hustle. She just does so much. I'm gonna let her tell you who she is. Shine, welcome to the stage, baby.
Hello, everyone. Hello. So, first of all, hey, what's up, y'all? Just give everybody some context. Tank, I've known Tank for a very long time, and his nickname for me is Shine. Does it like or shine? Because he said long time ago that I come into the room, I'm like a ray of sunshine, and so everyone who
Uh,
meets me through Tank knows me as Shine. So just giving y'all some context, he's gonna refer to me as Shine when you're gonna be like, who is Shine? What is happening? That's my nickname.
so
What's up, everybody?
So Shine, let's get the people right and ready right now. You're doing so many big things. When I have people on the show, it's a full blown conversation. I'm not a professional interviewer. I'm not a professional talk show host. I like to have conversations with folks that I know personally, that I feel as though my audience will benefit from, that I feel as though down the road as content creates itself over the course of our lifetime. This is indelibly just going to be stained on the internet. And as you just grow and blow up, people will come back and look to want to hear everything Nicole Purvy's ever done, and they're going to see you on the Financial Power Hour. So I want you to, first of all, so you got to tell the people where you are in the world because you're on the West Coast showing us love on the 3 hour time drop. She's a Philly girl by heart. I always play with her about the Music Soul Child song, Miss Philadelphia. Tell people about your background from as far back as you want to go professionally to what you're doing today.
Oh, child. How
We only
much
got an
time we
hour though.
got? I know. All right. So, like Tank said, I'm from Philadelphia. Like he said, when he and I met, I used to work at Vanguard. So fresh out of college, I graduated college in '05. Um, I used to work in the financial markets. I started off being a financial advisor. The fact that they let people do this, be a financial advisor fresh out of college, is the most ridiculous thing ever. But I knew the value in getting my Series 7, my 66. I later went on to get my 55 and all that. These are the licenses that you have to obtain if you want to trade securities. And you can't just walk up and be like, hey, I want to get these licenses. You have to actually be sponsored by I think NASD board company, right? Like they have to be registered. So I knew the value in that. And so I used Ameriprise to sponsor me to get my license. And I realized like quickly after, like, oh, y'all really trying to like work me to death. I'm not doing this. So I got my licenses. And then immediately, this was before the job shortage. Like this was pre the days where it's like, you get a job, you go to school, you get a degree, and you're not doing a job in that degree. No. This is when unemployment was low and they went to school for something and you immediately got a job in that field, especially if you got like relatively good grades. You just had to like not be like a complete F up. And so, hey, what's up? Hey, y'all, that's my mom. So,
My dude.
So I did that, and I immediately went to Vanguard and was like, yo, I got my paperwork. What's up? Hire me. And so, yeah, they're like, we're going to hire you. I know you think you're fancy, but we're pretty much going to make you a customer service rep for brokerage accounts. And so that's where they put all the newly graduated college students, but you had to have your license to do that. I did that for about 6 months. This was around the time when I met Tank, and I was completely miserable. I was like, this is just customer service. Like, what in the world? You on the phone, got the headset on like this, and you're like, hello. They're like, I'm really old. I don't understand this internet thing. I'm trying to buy 200 shares of this pink sheet penny stock. Can you tell me how to do it? And so like that's what I took hundreds of those calls per day. I was like, yeah, this is not fun. And so I went back to the job market. I held my paperwork up. Look, I got my paperwork, y'all. What other financial company want to hire me? I want to be rich immediately. So I immediately got a job after that working for Janney Montgomery Scott. To this day, I mean, I haven't had a job in 12 years, but to this day, that was my favorite job that I've ever had. I got a job being a trader, retail bond trader I was a trading assistant / the assistant to the guy who ran fixed income, Alan Schenkel. I haven't talked to him in years, but he was one of my best mentors ever. And so I did that. I was young, super young, 21, 22, trading bonds. I think at that time, that desk had never seen a black trader, let alone a black woman, let alone a young black woman. And so I'm doing that. Got promoted to being an actual trader. I'm working on the desk, trading, moving fast, doing everything. I was trading treasuries, zero coupon bonds, a bunch of other technical things, that some products that don't even exist anymore. And then I was just like, this wasn't the plan. I was supposed to graduate college and move to California. I want to live in LA. This wasn't the plan. So I was like, man, I got to start all over again. And I kept procrastinating. And then one day I just bought me a one-way ticket. I was like, I'm going to stay committed to this. I had just gotten a promotion at that job, and I said, I'm going to stay committed to this. At that job, I was making like 40 grand a year. And although, at 22 at that time in 2005, 2006, you should be grateful to be making that. And I was just like, this is just not enough money for me. And I know I had just gotten a promotion for making 35. And I was like, they ain't not going to give me another raise. They try like, you should be grateful. I said, you know what? I know this is what I'm going to do. I really want to go to California. I'm going to move to California. I know even if I have to take a step down, I'm going to, I'm just with the cost of living is so much more expensive. Just with the cost of living, even if I got to take a step back, I'll probably make like 60 grand. Lo and behold, moved to California, first job, made 60 grand. It was definitely a step back, but I made 60 grand. So I was like, I ain't like that job. Okay, let me get another job. So finally, I ended up probably my best job that I had was I traded institutionally for Toyota Financial Services. That was a relatively a good job, but I told that long story to say like I did all that job hunting, but I said to myself right before I got that last job, Nicole, if you get this job and you're still unhappy, this isn't the jobs, it's you. You got to quit this. This is not for you. You're not finding happiness here. And
I want to jump in the story right here
Mhm.
because it's important to me to say this. Two things. So everyone who did, this is a kind of a, and I appreciate Shine is not only on our platform tonight, she's live on her own platform. So I want to say what's good to all of the Better Than Success and Nicole Purvyites out there who follow Shine everywhere she goes. She's bad. She TEDx talks. She just did Good Morning Philadelphia the other day. She an international player. But let me tell you something. Everybody who knows on my program, and Nicole knows this firsthand, I'm grossly inappropriate. So with that being said, she's starting to get a little look at that face. She don't even know what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna keep it PG-13. I had the biggest crush on Nicole Purvy when I met her. And when I tell you, you ever see the Heisman Trophy, the statue with the arm out? She shoved me into the friend zone so aggressively. And it's one of those things I tell this story to let brothers know. The friend zone, nobody likes getting shoved into the friend zone. But we 13, 14, 17 years later, this is baby sis right here. Like this is my people.
Tank was married, y'all.
Oh, you're gonna just put my business out in the
You
street.
put
Now
the
you're gonna
business out.
take it to the next level.
You
So
put the business out.
I said the part of the business that we was talking about, and then you took the business. So yeah, so I was married, but that's neither here nor there because my marriage, you heard of open marriages, mine was broken open. So that's neither here nor there though. The reality is that I was hollering at her. I met her at the Lexus Lounge at a Sixers game, and I was mesmerized by her beauty. Then she started talking, and I was floored by her intelligence and I cracked hard. I tried to overwhelm her with all my game, and it got me zerowhere, like nowhere. And she was like, "Well, you could be my mentor." And I was like, "Okay, once they grin, I'm in. Game begins. She gonna mentor. We gonna see how this go." And many years later, I have still just been a mentor. But I'm happy. You got me. But I'm happy to be mentored her because she's blossomed so wonderfully in front of me. And that's the thing. You never know what's going to happen in the relationship that you make. But if you remain open to any possibility, this is one of my, even though she's younger than me, her acumen and her intelligence is off the chain. So I run ideas by her. I don't do anything that has to do with real estate without calling her first. And it's just a situation where we vibe off each other. We could talk about personal things, which is why this episode was so important to me. I was talking about work-life balance, and she corrected me. She said, "No, it's life-work balance. Like my life is my priority." And when she tells the story that that I just interrupted about the job searches eventually turning to her being an entrepreneur, that's so important to hear this, people, because she did it the way we're told to do it from back in the day. Go to school, get out of school, go to college, go get a job. And she just wasn't comfortable. It wasn't feeling right for her. And she tried over and over again with different jobs, moving up a ladder. And then she made her own lane. So I had to throw that part of the story out there. I'll pass it back to you, Shine. My bad.
You
Going to tell
know,
everybody I'm running around on my whites and stuff. It's crazy.
you wasn't running around. That's the thing. You told everybody that when it didn't happen, you wasn't running around.
With you. Way to cover me. Way to cover your boy. I appreciate you.
Yo, I can't with you with your shenanigans. I don't know how far you're going to take your inappropriateness. Whenever you're ready to tell the next inappropriate joke, just stop me and I'll get it. I just don't want to be the initiator of your shenanigans. Okay,
I got you.
I'll partake though.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so all right, cool. I said get this job at Toyota. I'm like, yo, listen, this is like the quintessential job, like this is where you want to be. I'm killing it right now. If I'm here and I'm still miserable, this is not a career path for me. And so lo and behold, I found myself miserable. I was like, this is how I felt. I know a lot of people, let me know in the chat if you feel like this. I'm making good money, This job is everything that I could possibly have ever wanted, but I am not I'm not doing what I was put here to do. I felt like I was wasting my gifts. I would go home every day crying. I felt like I was wasting my gifts. I felt like there was so much more inside of me, so much more creativity inside of me. And I felt like a bean counter. Um, I can go into all the accolades about all the bomb stuff I was doing at that job, but it really didn't matter. I just felt like a bean counter. So I started this is in 2008, 2009. I started this YouTube channel called The Bond Girl, where I was educating people about finance. This is before all your favorite finance people existed. I was doing it. And back then, they don't have these same rules like that now because social media is such an integral part of our lives. But back then, you couldn't have a job in finance and have licenses and be on social media talking about finance. So my job found out about it. They gave me a warning, and I was like, I don't really want to be here anyway. If y'all fire me, I'll get unemployment. Like, whatever. It was substantially less than what I was making, but I was single and I was just figuring the world out. I was 25, 26, 27. So they asked me to stop doing it. I didn't stop doing it. And so I got fired. And so then I was just like, you know what? I think I was salty for one day. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be an entrepreneur. So my first business, I started an online clothing boutique. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, Tank was my very first investor.
You know,
He
if I
was my
can't
very
take her
first
to
investor.
dinner and to Aruba with the money, I might as well see if I can help her build her practice with the money. You know, we got to do something, fellas, right?
Show your value, fellas. So Tank was my first investor. I started this business and out of pure necessity. And this is before everybody had online boutiques. I designed my own website. You didn't have Shopify. Shopify existed, but it didn't exist in this form that it is now. This was literally in 2010. Yeah. And so I had to teach myself web design. I taught myself web design, and people started noticing me more for that than the products that I was selling online. And that became more lucrative. So I started a web design business. I was still living in California, got a client in Philly that was paying me a lot of money, moved back to Philly. I was only supposed to be here for 30 days. I ended up being in Philly for 8 years. And through that client, got more clients. I actually ended up hiring staff, getting an office. And I was one step closer to getting to do what I really wanted to do, but it wasn't quite it. And I was like, you know what? I want to start investing in real estate. Once my web design business got what I thought big enough to be able to sustain that financially, I was like, I want to start investing, but I don't know anything about investing. And so at the time, my web design business, we used to offer entrepreneurship classes at our office because who needs web design services? Entrepreneurs. So that was one of the things that we used to do, like maybe weekly, every other week. And so I said, well, you know what? Since we've been doing this, I want to learn real estate. Let's fit in some real estate classes. I'll learn and we'll make these free. I'm not even going to charge anybody because like I can't promise anything because I'm learning too. So whoever wants to join me can join me. And so I was bringing in a different speaker, like calling up friends of friends. Hey, who wants to come and learn with me? First meeting, we had 4 people in the meeting room. The next meeting, we had people literally spilling out of the door. And then it grew into this membership that took over my digital marketing business, my web design business, and required a lot of attention. And I really took my responsibility seriously to usher other people into building wealth through real estate.
Sean, let me pause you there, and I want to, I know you have the intellectual acumen and the capacity. Is that my nephew making noise on the side? I see you looking across the room.
No. I'm looking at my phone is over here.
Okay,
so I'm looking over here at my phone.
We're gonna eventually talk about the young Prince JD. That's so much of the story I want to talk about. But the reason I asked her to stop right there was because when she started building out what eventually will become Better Than Success, and she just talked about helping other people. So Nicole has a server's heart. I have a server's heart. The greatest, most successful people on this planet have this level of success because they're servers first, because we all have been put here and our purpose is connected in some way, shape, or form in helping other people. So the reason I put a pin in it right at that point is because just recently, last week, Nicole was back in Philly. I didn't get a chance to see her, but she was back in Philly doing Good Morning Philadelphia, was it?
It was Fox 29, the
Fox,
weekend noise,
Fox
the weekend
29
news.
weekend news, because she's expanded the platform of her real estate league to now include artificial intelligence, which goes beyond the scope of this gray bearded dude. I'll let her tell you about that. But the reason I brought it up right when she was speaking is she is encouraging and actually demanding that 10 single moms join the platform for free. She's offering free tutelage and scholarship and help to help people do what she has now successfully proven that she can do herself. So every time I hear an opportunity to give her kudos on something she's doing, I really want to make sure I point that out. So can you touch on, with still keeping the fabric of the story, what you just offered to people in Philadelphia the other day?
So one of the things, let me back up and tell a quick story. So when we first started the league, again, it was really to help me. And then probably like maybe 3, 4, 6 months down the road, we had so many members. And I was just really like, hold up, slow down. Wait a minute. Like what? And so like I started to get a name for myself as being this real estate influencer, but I hadn't even done a deal yet. And the last thing I wanted to be considered, and no one said this. And when people would come to our meetings, I mean, this is back in 2016. When people would come to our meetings, I would tell them, like, when we would pitch to them the opportunity at the end to join, I would say, hey guys, I haven't done a deal yet. If you trust that I'm going to do a good job in teaching myself, come join us. And so they would. And so after some time, even though no one ever said anything about, imposter syndrome or whatever, I was feeling it on my heart. And I prayed to God and I said, God, I want to quit. This imposter syndrome is getting to me. And people was looking at me as some influencer. I have not done a deal yet. Like, what's up? And God said, listen. So at this point, I only had 6 months in. Okay. So God said, listen, if you put all your energy into making sure that everybody has whatever they need to do deals, when your time comes, I got you. And it was so clear to me. And I said, okay. And it removed that imposter syndrome. And so I literally listened. And that's still how I run Better Than Success to this day. I use the league as a resource to give me data to figure out what is the biggest issues keeping people from building wealth, specifically through real estate. But really, it's really a bigger conversation about mindset and a bigger conversation about how do we understand ourselves enough to make sure that we absorb the wisdom necessary to level up our lives. And so I try to I craft everything to give everyone, our members, the tools that they need to hijack their brains, use like a psychology-based approach to hijack their brains so that it's a no-brainer for them to level up and go to the next level and the next dimension. And so lo and behold, nevertheless, when it was time for me I focused on giving members everything that they need. I took money, a lot of my own money. I invested into the community to give them the resources that they need. So lo and behold, when it was time for me to do a deal, it was just so easy. I had money, literally people throwing money at me. Like I had a partner that was like, I didn't even pitch to them.
Not the way I was trying to throw money at. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
See?
You know what it is already, Shy. You know how I do.
I can't wait. So, for instance, one of my partners was basically like, I never even asked her. She was like, hey, you need money? Okay, here you go. What? And so everything really kind of snowballed from there. To tie it into this, this artificial intelligence that I spent a lot of time and a lot of resources developing. I developed it for a number of reasons. I developed it for our members. one of the things that I saw that was a big issue with not only our members, but people just in general. The biggest stalling point that people have to investing in real estate is this question, this age-old question. Where do I start? Okay. And in order for me to give you a tailored custom answer. So first of all, let me just say this. Most people teach, when they teach real estate, they teach like a one-trick pony. Like, hey, do FHA. Hey, do BRRRR. Hey, do this, do that. And guess what? Them solutions ain't for everybody. And so the way that we run real estate, the real estate league, is we give people the tools to customize their resources. Now, sometimes, or to customize their strategy, sometimes it takes them a while to really start being able to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And so the quickest way for them to understand, get a customized strategy to how to start is to have a one-on-one with them. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm really expensive for one-on-ones. I don't have a lot of time. Somebody wants to do a one-on-one coaching session with me. I can't do it for anything less than $2,000 an hour. I mean it. And I feel like that's even on the low end. But I know that people don't have that, right? So what I had this idea to do was allow them to answer a series of questions, and then they get sorted into one of 24 different archetypes, real estate investing archetypes. And so every single archetype, I've had these one-on-one sessions. I know these people. I know how their brain works. I know why they do what they do. I've been talking to them and meeting with them 3-4 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week for the past 6 years. I know them. And so once you take the questionnaire, it sorts you into one of 24 archetypes, and then you get a custom 4-page report that answers the question, where do I start? How do I get started? Even if you're an advanced investor and you're trying to go to the next level, that can be a question then too. You've done, your 2 to 4 families, your 1 to 4 families, and you're trying to get to apartment buildings. Where do I get started? What's my next move? And so once you answer this questionnaire, it'll sort you into the 24 different archetypes. You get your 4-page blueprint report. And then this is the magic part, right? I tell you where to start. We tell you where to start through your report. But then for the next year, you get customized content dripped to you over the course of a year that will help you progress. It will give you exactly what you need. So you go to the next step, do the next thing, do the next thing, do the next thing, all the way up to 52 weeks. In addition to all the other 5 events that we offer our members, live events that we offer our members in person. And that's a whole nother conversation. And so I took time away from a lot of the stuff that I did once COVID, then I had my son, which we're going to talk about in a minute. All that helped me, made me like really take a step back. And I said, oh, snap, I can actually still run this business while still taking care of the things that's important to me personally. This is the perfect opportunity. I figured out the formula. This is the perfect opportunity also to continue taking this step back and building out this AI mentor, which is what my community needs. Because it's so many people. You've heard stories about real estate moguls doing one-on-ones, charging $10,000, scamming them. We're not doing that. You don't got to risk your $10,000. You can join BTS. Right now, I think we're $197 a month. $197. Get your report. You ain't got to pay nobody $10,000 for no one-on-one mentoring.
I love it. That's one of my biggest problems that I have with the internet. And you and I have talked about this. When I first got into brokerage at Smith Barney 25 years ago, I was sitting in the office of one of the more successful brokers there, Richard Gendelman. And Richard Gendelman said to me, he said, Tank, it was condescending, but I knew his heart was in the right place. He was like, Tank, you're one of the smartest people I've ever met. You're definitely one of the smartest people here. He said, that's not going to do you any good, though. Not that alone. And I didn't understand what that meant. He said, you're in a sales job. He said, everybody who is here isn't here because they're smart. They're not even here because they know finance. He named this one dude down the hall who nobody liked. He said, that guy, he failed to Series 7 3 times. He was a damn forestry major in college, but he makes $450,000 a year now because he sells to his whole synagogue and all of his friends. And what he explained to me was, he said this, and this may go over the head of people who don't understand risk and reward in investments. It better not go over the head of any of the Wealth Our Way Nation members who have heard me talk about risk and reward ad nauseum. He said you could teach people how to make a 30% return by taking absolutely no risk. Now, by the way, that is impossible. But this was the exaggeratory example he was giving me. He said you could be able to teach people how to make a 30% return with no risk. And if nobody outside of this office will listen to you talk about that, you will be bankrupt and out of this business in 2 weeks. He said, this is not a business about what you know. This is not a business about doing your job well. This is a business about getting people to entrust you and write you a check to do what it is you do. When I look at where financial, real estate, networking, event planning, all of that is today, with the help of the internet, nothing has changed. Exactly what Richard Gendelman said to me in 1997 is true today. The best advisors are not necessarily the ones who are brilliant and who are smart. They're the ones who market the best. They're the ones who get the most attention. And a lot of times I've watched some of these advisors, I always call it the Lil Wayne syndrome. Me personally, as a hip hop guy, when Lil Wayne first came out, I didn't think he could rap, but he just kept at it. And now Lil Wayne's halfway decent. A lot of these financial cats, I hear them say stuff that makes me cringe. And I just like, oh, thank God there's no compliance. But I've been watching them for a year and a half now. They actually know some things now. They like constantly on somebody else's seminar, or they just talk it so much that they learn as they go. Buyer beware, be careful. And this is what Nicole was talking about. You don't want to be the person to sign up with them while they're first learning what they're doing. Catch them year 2, year 3, year 4. But there's a lot of that going around. And I love being associated with quality people like my good friend Nicole Purvy here, who has not only walked the walk herself, she owns over $7 million of her own personal real estate, professionally, corporately, and personally, but she's done things like the Women in Real Estate Week. How many proclamations has the city of Philadelphia given you? Like, when are we going to have Nicole Purvy Boulevard?
I think I have 4 resolutions. One of them I never went and picked up. I don't even know that city council person retired. I don't even know where to go. I'm scared to ask, but I think I've gotten 4. Now, keep in mind, this give you some context. Citations, which most people know what they are, there's just like a piece of paper. Resolutions go in the history books. Like you get them on the floor, city council floor. So I've gotten I think 4 resolutions.
That's what's up. And one of the other things, we did a joint conference down in Atlanta one time, Nicole and I, for the MARTA, for Atlanta's version of SEPTA. It's their High Regional Transit Authority. And the book that's over her, it's to our left, for her right shoulder, The Anti-Hustle. She was talking about the anti-hustle because, and I don't know if she still keeps the same energy toward the word hustle, but Nicole does not like the word hustle. She just thinks it has a lot of negative connotation. People should have more of a focus and an organization to how they make their money and not be hustling and be by their bootstraps. And the anti-hustle is just that. It's a biblically principle guided book on how to get your game tight and not your bread wrong and on the wrong track, as my man B.I. used to say, because as she knows, I'm one of the most disorganized people she's ever come across. And to have systems set up, to have standard operating procedures, to have a course of action that is a repeatable process that people can hang their hat on is the way you grow and you scale. So I every time I think of something else that this young lady has done, it makes me want to bring it to the forefront, but I digress. Now we're going to pivot into my nephew and into life work balance, because you're getting right there on how you got to California. If anybody goes on your Instagram page, they'll see you half the time at the beach. So let's talk about how you moved into figuring out how you would finance the life that you desire to have.
So when I came back to Philly for the 8 years, the 30 days that turned into 8 years, been trying to get back, but I kept digging more business roots in Philly that prevented me from coming back to California. And COVID and I got pregnant at the same time. Those two things happened
A
at
lot
the
of people
same
got pregnant
time.
during COVID.
Well, no, I didn't get pregnant during COVID. I got pregnant before COVID. So like literally I was COVID, I think so I found out I was pregnant like the beginning of December. And that was when it was like bubbling. So like it all kind of happened at the same time. So nevertheless, I had like 3 or 4 open rehab projects. I'm also a general contractor. So I had 3 or 4 open rehab projects going on at the time. And when COVID happened, my team was like, you can't come pregnant lady, can't be coming down. Remember, we were all terrified of COVID. Remember back in those days? Like,
Now I'm seeing people walking out the bathroom without washing their hands again. So, we're back, unfortunately.
we're
We're back.
back. So my team was like, my construction crew was like, you can't come down here. And so I just like, it forced me to put the necessary procedures in place because like, what am I going to do with these nails coming down to a project every week other than just standing there with my hands on my head? You don't move that over there. Like, what am I going to do? One time I was forced to put, I had a project going on. I had to put putty packs around the light fixture. So like, if you've ever seen the putty pack is literally clay that's like a square like this. And so it's like comes on these sheets and you take it and you wrap it around and it's supposed to insulate the light fixtures, the light fixtures and the lights from fire spreading in case it's a fire. And so I found myself doing it one time and it was cold in that house and I had nails and I was sitting up on the top of a ladder like, why are they making me do this work? Why? So like that's the most work I've ever done. So why did I feel like I needed to be in my project, going to them every day? And so I started putting systems in place. And then I also had to ask myself some serious questions about like, where do I want to raise my son? Case in point, Roxborough yesterday. Like,
hearts go out to Roxborough.
Yes.
The young fellow that lost his life. The other,
I know,
the
it's
other
so
young
sad.
fellows that was shot. It's terrible.
I pray for strength for his family. I can't even imagine. Oh, so I decided like, I'm just gonna go like before my son gets here and before, but I had already planned on going. That's the crazy part about it. Like even before I had my son, I was going to pull the trigger. Like I was going to have to force myself the same way I moved last time. So I was like, before my son gets here and it's hard to move with a toddler, let me just go ahead and pull this trigger. And so I did end up moving. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. It forces me to be present as a parent because I get to compartmentalize. And I've been having this conversation a lot with colleagues and mentees about just reducing stress. You have to, when you are a parent and you run business, or when you have a lot of things going on in your life, when you're in a leadership role in a lot of things or an important role in a lot of things in your life, you have to compartmentalize and set up boundaries and be okay with them. The anxiety and the stress happens when you start letting boundaries, when you start not respecting your own boundaries. So like, for instance, Tank called me this morning and JD started school today and we were doing our morning shuffle and he texted me and I was about to not text him back until after I did school. But I was like, this is Tank. Like, because the previous day I had let my boundary down and I had a business call before work started and it stressed me out. I didn't like it. And that's a rule that I have. And so when I called Tank, he understood we were good. Like he told me what he had to tell me. And then we started talking. I was like, no, I got to talk to you later. It's JD time. But I say all this to say, I think we get so stressed out and we don't do this work-life balance. I don't even know if it's a such thing as balance, but if there is a such thing as balance, is the only way to that is by setting up boundaries and compartmentalizing. Because when you don't compartmentalize, you are not present in neither thing that you're doing. If you are at work thinking about your kid, or if you're with your kid thinking about work, you're doing both things horribly. You're trying to do two things at once and you're doing both things horribly.
What's crazy about you saying that is, so my team, shout out to the team. My team has been trying to help this old dude get his social media game together. And one of the things they have me doing are reels on three tips, and shoot the reel out. So I was supposed to do, and this is just, I'm gonna put myself on blast. I was supposed to do 3 tips on life work balance leading up to this show that was going to show, over the weekend, my 3 tips. And I didn't get the reel done. But my 3 tips were that the first thing you have to do to create proper life work balance is identify for yourself. And this is going to sound wild if you're a W 2 employee, because work is very clear to you when you're a W 2 employee. When you're an entrepreneur, not so much. So the first thing you have to identify is what is work and what is part of your life, because you can very easily let it cross over lines. Well, I'm spending time with my kid, but you're sitting there with your kid watching a real estate YouTube because you try to learn some more about work. So the first step is to clearly delineate between work and the rest of your life. The second thing is, and this goes right to the heart of the anti-hustle and systems, document that now. Now that you know what you can clearly see as life and what you can clearly see as work, put a schedule together that says, here's where I work, here's where I don't. The third thing, share it. Share it, especially with the people it affects most. So sit down your people who are part of your work team and tell them, yeah, I rock hard with y'all from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. But from 1 to 3, y'all know I'm on the beach with JD. Like, I don't call me. And I rock hard with y'all from March to September, but I go dark for 6 weeks, September into mid-October. Let people know, because I'm very cynical and I'm hard on people. But the truth of the matter is that people at the end of the day we all have our own issues in our bag that we are dealing with. People want to respect what it is that you're doing. But if they don't know to respect it, and that's something that I'm famous for. I got into this business as a financial advisor. Quick story. I was up the street from a guy named Ted Reed. Ted Reed is like broker to the stars, like just he has Hollywood producers, actors, football players. He got Donovan McNabb as I got Trey Thomas as a client on the Eagles. He was just the big time guy. So in order for me to break into his space, I had to be willing to do any and everything. I had to go to the cleaners and get my clients dry cleaners to become their financial advisor. And that's how I lived my life early in my business. Well, when you start that, it's hard to turn that off. So I would have clients of mine calling me at 1:30 in the morning because they were in LA 3 hours behind. They just got finished playing the Lakers. They're sitting at a bar with a person like, oh, I'll call my financial guy. And they were calling me to ask me, like, what's the zip code in Matona, Minnesota? I'm like, dude, are you really calling me at 1:30 to ask me a zip code? But they were used to that. And what I found, this was something that was taught to me in my training at Smith Barney, whatever you get a client for is what you'll lose that client for. If you get them because you're the hyper service guy, when you start to try to dial back your service, you'll look brand new to them and they won't rock with you. If you got them because you're the discount person and you're always on the low, when you go to raise your prices, you'll lose that person. But it's okay to let people go, because as you grow, your clientele will have to grow as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because what I really do, and you see me fidgeting, but I'm on a very hard surface right now in this chair. What I really want us to talk about, as you started to segue into nephew, when you decided for yourself, it's mom first, mompreneur second. What did you have to tell yourself and those around you to get everybody on board for how you were going to live your life and guide your path?
Well, first of all, I'll start with what I had to tell myself, because what I had to tell other people, because this is not as heavy as the first. Just basically, don't call me before 9 a.m. Pacific time. So don't call me before noon. Don't call me. Don't. That's me and JD time. Period. First of all, JD is loud. Like, you don't want to talk to me during that time. Like, mommy, monster truck, car. Like, he don't care. One time somebody called me. This is literally what happened the other day. Mind you, he's 2, y'all. He just turned 2. somebody called me and he was doing his snuggle time in the morning before he wake up. And I got out what I need to get out with him real quick. He gonna go like this. And look at me and laugh. You gonna imitate me? So I said it to say, like, don't everybody knows, don't call me during that time. Also too, like, you have to get into the mindset of telling people, like, even within my work hours, I have blocks of time when I do such and such thing. And so you have to be really, really disciplined about not answering the phone when that's outside of your block, or answering the phone and saying, hey, I'm not doing that right now. Call me later when I'm doing that. Right? Like, I only handle my real estate, running my rehabs. I only handle that during certain times. You don't get unlimited access. If you send me the invoice on this day, you get paid that day, period. I'm not just going to be willy-nilly sitting around waiting to pay invoices. It's not happening. So you have to live your life in a very structured, disciplined way. And then I'm still working on it too in a lot of areas, right? And so you have to be okay with that as well. In terms of what I had to tell myself, first of all, I love my son more than he is the love of my life. He really is. So love is a verb. And my son he doesn't understand work. I have to love him as really like a one-sided type of relationship. I have to love him in a way that he understands. So he's not going to understand, hey, baby, I can't talk to you right now because I'm doing this over here. Sometimes, yes, now that he's getting older, yes, you're going to have to learn how to respect those boundaries. But for the most part, showing your children love, they just want quality time. And so I had to really understand that I know that on paper, playing with blocks is not as important as talking through my Section 8 inspection. Like, I know that on paper, but the reality is just as important. The other thing we have to understand is, most people believe that we are hardwired up until the age of 7. Is really up to 3. That's when most of the hardwiring happens. And so right now it's critical for me to set a foundation of happiness and normalcy for him. Moreover, I'm building up to the most important thing. We talk a lot about investing, right? We talk about investing our money. That's what this show was about. Money, wealth, whatever. Wealth does not only show up in the form of money. Wealth is our children. And so that is how we leave our legacy. The way to immortality is through your offspring. So the better job I do at least giving him the tools that he needs, laying this foundation in his first 3 years, that is my legacy, no matter what. I'm doing everything I can to set him up financially. But if I set him up financially, but don't set him up mentally, emotionally, the finances mean nothing. It means nothing. But if I give him the tools and show him that he is valued, show him how to be confident, show him how to be a thinker. If I leave him nothing, I'm giving him the tools to make money, to survive in this world. That is more important than the money. Now, I'm not leaving my son nothing. Tank knows I got life insurance policy.
We got a lot of stuff going on.
You're right.
We got a lot of
But
stuff going on.
if God forbid, I know that this will never happen to me, but if in some alternate universe something happens financially and I can't leave my son what I need to leave him, I am going to give him the tools that I'm going to give him and instilling inside of him is so much more important than the financial tools. So much more important.
Let me say this. This has been such a filling hour, 50 minutes so far, but hour for me. Not that I don't get access to you that I value very much. But people don't believe sometimes because the internet will tell you, oh, everything is, let me take a picture of this food. Everything's a show off. So sometimes when I say things, I think people think I'm showing off or making things up or staging conversations. I had two great conversations about child rearing last week. Friday, I had a conversation with my dog, Trey Johnson, Big Trey. Had a conversation with Trey about our sons. And Wednesday, you and I had a conversation about our sons. And what I love, something you said was so powerful to me. It was about privilege. It was about spoiling our children. It was about letting them know that they can have any and everything. Now, in our community in particular, we normally don't, especially start going back generations. So, like, I'm older than you, but me and you, I consider us in the same generation, so to speak. We were raised responsibly, and I know your mom is watching this right now. Like, hey, don't show your butt. Don't get yourself in trouble. Don't go out in the streets and embarrass me. Da 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 da. I think it's amazing that JD is getting almost the whole other side of that, which is show your butt. Do what you want. You can have anything in this room. You can have anything on this block. You can have anything in this world. You said something to me. I'll say it and then you'll correct me and clean it up. You said it's my job as his mom to put a ceiling that doesn't exist over top of him, to let him know that everything is his and everything is possible. If he goes out into the world and somebody humbles him or says, no, this isn't for you, I'd rather him adjust downward to that than for me to be the one making him feel small, him go out into the world and not know how to be big because I had to tell him, behave, calm down, don't think everything is for you. And when we start looking at the world, I shared a moment at the end of the summer. I take my kids on vacation every summer when I can grab. I got 6 kids, so I can't always get them all. But this year I was also able to take my little niece, Chelsea. We rented a yacht and we're on Biscayne Bay on the yacht. And I'm just sitting back. Everybody thinks I don't have a good time. My good time is watching everybody else have a good time that I provided. That's who I am. And I was watching Chelsea in particular. And I just thought it was amazing to see this 4-year-old Black girl. And she dark as she want to be because my sister is dark and her dad is dark. And, there's the whole light skin, dark skin thing. This little dark chocolate Black girl thinks that she is the queen of Sheba. She is walking around this yacht with a lollipop in one hand and a piece of cheese in this hand. And like, excuse me, faster, please. and I'm like, yo, this is how it should be for little Black children. This is how it should be, because for too long, it hasn't been this way. And we don't know how to, I struggle with it myself. Me and you been on G5s together. Like I've been everywhere. I've been with real cats, 100 millionaires. I've been everywhere. And sometimes I feel so small, even though these cats are looking up to me. I feel so small because I think of myself as the poor kid from Southwest Philly on food stamps, and I don't deserve to be here. And who am I to think I'm this grandiose? JD will never know that feeling. He is going to walk into the room like, grapes, like what is going on here?
So that's how he walk around now. Everybody see him, they be like, why he walk around like he own the place? I don't know. I just love it. I'm here for it.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's right.
But you said it in a very succinct way what we were saying, what I was discussing with you when we were talking the other day. I know there are perils to, making your children feel like, they own everything and giving them whatever. But I would rather him get humbled. That's a easier learning experience. It's really hard to convince someone that when you've diminished who they are from childhood, it's really hard to convince them that they are powerful. And at the end of the day, and the other thing I said is, we as parents in America, we take on so much responsibility of shaping our child, when the reality, it is a village thing. It is a life experience thing. I really only have one role. And my role that I have is to make him feel loved. I can try to fulfill some of these other roles, right? The role of his father, the role of his grandparents, the role of his auntie who's standing right here. She's his nanny. He loves her to death. they have other roles and other things that they are meant to teach him. And a lot of times we as parents, as mothers, we try to give them all the lessons and all the roles. But the reality is, as a mom, you really only have a few roles. And that first role is to make them feel unconditionally loved. You know how I know? Because when we go to therapy and they ask you whatever your issue is, a lot of times it boils back to your parent and how much your parent didn't love you enough. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Not, oh, I messed up because my mom didn't teach me. Like, I mean, messed up at a root level. Oh, I messed up because my mom didn't teach me finance. Yeah, that may have affected you, but you're not going to have a psychological condition because your mom didn't teach you finance. You can go and learn that later and still be a whole person. It's not going to mess you up on a root level. And so I realized that my role above all is to make him feel loved, valued, cherished, and really valued so that he knows his value. He can be confident in his value when he goes out into the world.
I love it. I love it. So we're at the end of the program, believe it or not. The hour just flew. I want you to do one thing for me. I want you to tell everybody where they can find you because you're everywhere. So I want you to tell them the best place to find you and the best place to learn more about Better Than Success, Nicole Purvy, and everything that you have to offer the world.
So you can follow me on Instagram at Nicole Purvy. Our YouTube channel just hit 10,000 subscribers. Better Than Success on YouTube. Yay! We had our biggest month revenue wise as well. So I'm really, really grateful for that. If you want to learn more about Better Than Success, you can go to betterthansuccess.com. But here's the most important thing. I have a webinar tomorrow night at 7 p.m., a free webinar talking about how I did 6 deals in 6 months, and anybody can do it. Yes, you and your negative credit score, you and your negative bank account. I'm going to show you how I did it. And I'm going to really, really open your mind. So go to contactlessconstruction.com. I do believe I put it in the private chat and then you can paste it there and share it on this. Oh no, it's going across the bottom. It's in the ticker. Go to contactlessconstruction.com to sign up for that ASAP. It's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And yeah.
7 Eastern?
7 Eastern. Yep. My brain works in Eastern time because I know y'all don't care about my Pacific time.
Yo, I love you so much, Shine.
I love you too, Tank.
You know, it's just always a pleasure to have any time from with you, and it just, you know, that smile. That's, you see why I call it Shine. Just lights the room up. For everybody who's not part of Wild Nation, please take the opportunity to go over to Wealth Our Way Network. That's our page on YouTube, Wealth Our Way Network, and subscribe. We're going to keep bringing you the Financial Power Hour every other Wednesday and 15 minutes of finance every Tuesday and Thursday. And with that, we're going to hit the outro. Thank you, guys.